Hello and welcome to Capricorn Makes. I'm Stacy and I just got back from Woolfest. So yeah, this is a annual wool festival that goes on, and it's just traders from all over the place come and are in one place, and it's really exciting because a lot of the stuff that you've only seen like in other people's projects or on the internet or in photos, you actually get to go and touch and play with, and it's really nice. Now I did actually take my camera because I was going to take some video while I was there, sort of show off like the general chaos and all of that. Like it's right in my backyard. I mean, it's less than a 5-minute drive from here, so I actually went really early, was there waiting around for it to open, and I left. I was only there for like from when the building opened to when I left was less than 45 minutes because I knew roughly what I wanted. I knew what I was looking for. I went in with a plan. I had a certain amount of money that I was comfortable spending, and yeah, so it was really fun. But I realized when I pulled my camera bag out when I went to start taking photos that I had left my battery at home in the charger, which was not very smart of me. And I was like, oh, I'll just take photos on my camera phone or something. No, I didn't. I ended up with so much stuff to carry around that it wasn't like, I didn't end up taking any pictures because I ended up having way too much stuff going on. People, people I hadn't seen probably since last year were coming up and saying hello, and there were new people who were like part of one of the other communities that I'm in that I was saying hello to, and it was just like, if I'd had the official camera it would have been easier, but just like with my cell phone, people don't have any qualms about coming up and interrupting you when you're on a cell phone as opposed to when you're actually taking proper photos with a real camera. But yeah, I wanted to show off my haul because I got stuff. So let's go to the table and we'll get a closer look at this. Alright, before I talk about what I bought, I would like to talk a little bit about what I was wearing. Because Woolfest is sometimes, like, it's been a year between when I've seen some of these people and it's in the fiber community, this is the third year Woolfest has been on, and I have been trying to make it a habit of wearing a couple of my favorite knitted items that I have knit since the previous Woolfest. And these are the two pieces. I have had this skein of yarn. It is a Malabrigo Rasta, I think, but it is a really loosely felted single. And there's not very much of it. There's only like 90 yards, I think, in a skein, something like that. I'll put the links below if I remember. But I made this, I think it's called the Starflower hat. I mean, you can see the star here. I'll put a link to the pattern as well, but it's been done in such a way that it really opens up this stitch on it. And I really like little hats, but I don't wear this one very often because it, even though I really like it, the yarn itself is so delicate that it gets sort of this halo, this fuzzy halo around it. And so it's a bit poofier and warmer than I prefer. Like if I was still in Alaska, it would still be a great hat for the winters there, but my head does not get cold enough to really require this for like sort of my everyday wear. And if I wear it like while I'm outside and then go to take it off, then I have like really crazy hat hair. So if I wear a hat, I just sort of resign myself to wearing the hat all day. And this is not a good candidate for that. So I do trot it out for special occasions, and I'm really glad that I was able to take it out today. The other piece that I have here is the shawl that I knit for my wedding. And there's quite a story behind this shawl. This is the Alberta shawl. Again, I will try and link patterns in cobweb lace here, but this is actually, I probably should have reblocked it because these points are like maple leaves when they are all, because the points of them are all out when it is properly stretched, but it is beaded. And because I was an insane person, I decided that I was going to knit a shawl 2 weeks before my wedding started, in addition to still needing to make my wedding dress. I don't regret it for a moment, even though I finished blocking it at 3 a.m. the morning of my wedding when I had to be up at 7:30 the next morning and still make my headpiece for the wedding. My wedding was gorgeous. It turned out exactly right. This is fabulous, and it is actually a ring shawl. I did not actually set out to make a ring shawl. And what a ring shawl is a scarf that will, or a shawl that will actually pull completely through your wedding ring. I have to be a little bit careful because of the beads on here do catch. But the whole thing, whoops, we don't need that anyway. The whole thing will pull through my wedding ring. So yeah, so that I wore that today because I really haven't seen anybody in the community since my wedding last October, and I thought I would show it off. I don't wear it very often again because it is a delicate piece. It's a little bit fancier than I normally do, but I had never done a large lace scale project before I had done this, and I love it. Oh my god, I love it so much. It is so much fun. I love the chart. This was all charted knitting, but I love it. I love how, and it actually curves around. So like it's not, you can actually block it to be straight, but it actually curves like that when it is all done. So yeah, I wore this. It is desperate in need of reblocking, but I wore that as well. Now on to the things that I actually bought. So the lady who lives locally that I keep talking about is Lynn from Fiber to Go. This is not going to be a big like sales post, but this is one of, hands down, my favorite people that are here in the industry in New Zealand. Like I pretty much would bring home every single thing that she ever does, ever. And when she had the spot that was right inside the front door. And so when the doors opened at 10, I sprung upon her table, grabbed this one of a kind, it's called a bling bat, but it has like sparkle all through it. So it's silk, alpaca, and Firestar or Angelina or something like that. But I could not pass this up. This is, it is brighter in person than it looks on camera, which, and I know my camera really saturates the colors really crazily. So this thing is as saturated as like that neon orange, those neon orange ribbons that I had in my latest video. It's so bright and gorgeous, and I'm so pleased. But I like pounced on it and like flung myself over to her, and I'm like, first sale of the day, because I'm pretty sure it was. She was like, it was the first thing that she was writing down in her sales ledger. So I think I bought the first thing that wasn't like pre-sold at Woolfest, which was pretty great. I did say I was going to come back to her stall, but it was just swarmed when I went back. I left at exactly the right time. I was only there for 45 minutes, and oh my god, it was the right time to leave, because they actually had the going out completely blocked off in order to accommodate all of the people coming in. They had it's being held at the Corbin Estate Arts Center, which is sort of a studio artist collective thing, but they have like this big double warehouse that normally workshops and artists sort of work in there when they need bigger projects. But like the parking situation is not great. So they had people sort of controlling the parking, and they had to like completely stop and move everybody out of the way, because I'm not sure they were expecting people to be leaving quite that early, but I had a list and I worked my way through it. The other, like, this was unplanned, but still something that I was, like, in the realm of what I was looking for. I wanted something for a striped shawl of some variety. Something that, you know, is similarly sized to this, perhaps, but more for everyday wear. And I found this by these Harney Hooley's designs, which I had never heard of before, but this skein right here like drew me like a magnet across like the whole room. I was like, whoa, and I picked it up and I compared it against every single other color that like they had there, because normally I wouldn't go for something quite this pink. I like this pink. Oh, this is silk and merino, and it's really soft, and there's actually quite a lot of it. Usually there's only about 100 grams that come in a braid like this. This is 125 per braid, which it means it's going to be a nice generous project, especially at the weight that I'm planning on spinning it. So I can do one of the, like a striped shawl or a colorwork shawl, and this is going to be my one big Woolfest project. Well, that's kind of a lie, but I mean, I was looking at other people and I just wasn't quite finding the colors, and I picked this up and they only had one of this color, and he's like, oh yeah, you know, people have been oohing and awing over that in the, you know, half an hour that the thing had been open, and I'm like, mine! And I wouldn't sit it down, and I was just holding it, and I was like, okay, this one or this one or this one or this one or this one, and they had like every color that's used in here, they had like similar colors. Like one of my favorite contenders was this, like it was kind of this blue, and then there was another one that was maybe, it was sort of a purplier, like it was more muted than this, in that same sort of purple gray. Oh, I have something here that's a similar color. So it would have been like similar to this rather than the pink. It would have been more on the purple side. But as you can see, like this is something I already own, but like clearly I have a color palette. You can see how like there's just not as much contrast here. And in the end, I went for something that was guaranteed to have a big like contrast effect when I do stripe it up so that you can see this. Because that's one of the biggest things that you have to be careful of when you're striping a variegated and a, well, this is still variegated, but a fairly solid color yarn, is you don't, like I will have to be careful at these pinker areas that I don't have big lengths of pink yarn that are going to blend in with this, because then you blur the stripe effects. And again, I wish my color accuracy was a bit better, because this is bluer and greener than it looks on here, and this is more vivid, which I don't know, I might put it on YouTube and go, I swear to you these are pastels, not day glow. But yeah, I'm really pleased with this. Like it's a little bit more felted than I usually like when I'm doing these braids, but I can tell that it will spin up. Like it just looks like it was handled a little bit roughly during the dye process, but you can tell just by the feel of it, like if I pop my hands inside the braid, that it actually has been taken care of well enough in here, and this might just be just a halo from dyeing or shipping. I mean, generally I like a little bit more polish to the end of it, and some of this is just because I do dye my own, and I know, like I see this and I know what it's from, but it's also not bad enough to deter me from buying this project, just because it is absolutely the colors that I've been looking for a while, and like it will make me happy. And I have a lot of things sort of in this color, so these will go really well with my overall thing. So the number one thing that I was looking for while I was there was fleece. And actually the thing that took a dive off the table is not fleece, was locks for doll hair. And whoops. In the end, I got 2 bags of Surrey alpaca, and this is not terribly long fleeces, and that's okay, because I was looking for shorter wigs. So as you can see, like it's not long enough to, and this is unwashed, and that's okay with me, because I can choose some of the, this is what I wanted, and even if a lot of this ends up being sort of junk stuff that I'm experimenting with, it was of a price that I'm happy to deal with that. I did pick 2 different bags that look like they're from 2 different animals, or at least from different parts of the animal. Let me see if I can pull out some different textures out of here. And like I said, these are a bit shorter than I usually would have preferred. Like if I was buying these commercially, I would expect to pay more for longer locks. Like these are, there we go. You can see these are only maybe 4.5, maybe 5. But I have lots to play around with here, and I figure it would be better to sort of get my experimenting done with stuff that is not higher quality, because this is perfect enough for me to learn how to make wefts, learn how to wash, decide if I want to dye. But I have some options here for playing around with like just trying things out while I'm wig making. And for the amount that I paid for this, I'm happy with the amount that I got for experimentation. Now there were some other locks that I was looking at that were like that would have been good for dreadlocks and things like that, but I kind of forgot, like on my way out, that I was going to pick those up. It's not a big deal. I can find stuff like that all the time. And the lighting was kind of poor in there, so I wasn't really sure that they were the color that I wanted. I also got some more mohair. I have quite a bit of mohair already. But I really liked some of the texture of this, and even like the stuff that I have is much longer than this. I don't believe this has been lightly washed, but not too hard. But I really liked some of the texture in here, and I might be able to very carefully preserve some of these curls for like if I wanted to do a wig that had like finger curls around the front. If I was very careful, I will be able to preserve that. And you know, it was I don't know, $5 for a bag, which is, you know, hardly anything. And I'm okay with it shorter because I do have longer things that I can play with, and I'm not too worried about going for exactly the highest quality of things yet. But I mean, like, I'm thinking I might do like a, let's look through the lockbox. I have the locks out here, and because I kind of need to take stock of what I have so that I can figure out what I want to play around with. And now that I have some now that I have a doll head here, I can play with it. Now, I know I said, you know, I've got 24 fleeces now. I definitely don't need any more fleeces. I bought another one. I made some space up here, and I made some more space down here, and I was like, you know, if the right thing comes around, I will get something. And I did, so let me go get like a sample of it so you can see. This is an unwashed Cordell ram fleece. It's very, it's actually pretty fresh. It doesn't smell like or feel like it's been sitting for a long time. So it's got quite a lot of crimp to it. It's really nice and fluffy. Cordell is good for outerwear. It's good for socks and things like that. It's a bit hard wearing. This is, I was actually able to feel like this ram's mother's fleece was also there. And I got to take a look at hers, but hers was a little bit, it was way softer than this was. And so it was a nicer quality fleece, but I liked the color of this one better. And it's still, pardon me, it's still soft enough that I can, like I can wear it like on my delicate bits without it being rough at all. Like this is my favorite kind of Cordell, where it is, let's see if I can pull out so you can see some of the lock structure. It's quite crimpy. There's a decent staple length to it. This is like quite a good length. It is like there are just slightly a couple of different shades to it. So like this is sort of the darkest that it gets, and these tips are just sun bleached. Like they won't like when you wash it, sort of this kind of goes away. Like it breaks off and falls off and things like that. And so you don't really end up with any of this brown color appreciably in the fiber. So it's pretty much split between this sort of warm dove and this sort of lighter color. Like, and there's so much of it, right? Rams, merino, or not merino, but Cordell rams are not the smallest things ever. So there is a lot here, and there is plenty for doing what I would like to do with it, which is probably like a long cardigan, like a boyfriend style cardigan, or maybe something with a or like a shawl collar or something like that. And I have, like, I can card it all together for a single color, or I can make two that are similar. I really should do a fleece tour so you can see some of the things that I have on the horizon. I've decided this year is the year that I'm going to really tackle my fleeces. I've been enjoying going through all of my stash, and I have discovered a lot of things that I've been sitting on, and I'm no longer going to do the things with them that I had wanted to. And now I am at the point where I have completely different needs climate-wise than I did before. And I'm finding new uses for stuff that I'm like, well, what the heck am I gonna do with this? So that is the entirety of my Woolfest haul for this year. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!